The rain hit the metal roof of Jinwoo Park's ranch house like 1,000 tiny hammers. Thunder rolled across the wide plains of New Texas, shaking the windows and making the cattle nervous in their fields. Jinwoo sat at his kitchen table, drinking coffee and watching the storm through the window. He had seen many storms in his 5 years on this frontier planet. But this one felt different. The wind howled louder than usual, and the lightning came in strange colors, not just white and blue, purple and green streaks that lit up the dark sky. Jinwoo was a simple man. He had come to New Texas after his time in the Earth military ended. The planet was far from the busy core worlds, where people lived in tall buildings and never saw real stars. Here, he could raise cattle and horses, work with his hands, and sleep under an open sky. The storm was getting worse. Jinwoo put on his heavy coat and grabbed his flashlight. He needed to check on his animals. The cattle would be fine in the main pasture, but his horses were in the stable. The old building sometimes leaked when the wind blew hard. He ran across the muddy yard, his boots splashing through puddles. The stable door was harder to open than usual. The wind kept pushing it back. When he finally got inside, he shook the rain from his coat and turned on his flashlight. The horses were restless. His mare, Buttercup, was pacing in her stall. His old stallion, Thunder, was stomping his feet. Jinwoo walked down the row of stalls, checking each animal and speaking softly to calm them. That was when he heard it. A soft whimpering sound came. From the back of the stable, it was not a horse sound. It was not a cow sound. It was something else entirely. Jinwoo moved slowly toward the sound. His flashlight beams swept across the hay bales and old farming tools. The whimpering grew louder. It sounded like crying, but not human crying. Behind the last stack of hay bales, Jinwoo found them. 3 small creatures huddled together in the corner. They were unlike anything he had ever seen. They were about the size of large dogs, but their bodies were covered in scales that seemed to shine even in the dim light. Their scales were dark blue and green with silver markings that looked like stars. Each creature had 4 legs, a long tail, and what looked like folded wings on their backs. Their heads were shaped like triangles, with large golden eyes that reflected his flashlight beam. Their necks were long and graceful, like swans, but stronger. The largest of the 3 sat in front of the other 2. It was clearly protecting them. When Jinwoo's light hit them, all 3 creatures pressed themselves against the wall. The largest one made a low rumbling sound. It's like a warning. Jinwoo had been a soldier for 10 years before becoming a rancher. He had seen many worlds and many strange animals. But these creatures were clearly not from New Texas. They were aliens. The frontier planets sometimes had visitors from other worlds. Traders, explorers, and refugees all passed through the outer systems. But these creatures were young, clearly, babies or children, and they were hurt. Jinwoo could see cuts and bruises on their bodies. One of the smaller ones was holding its left wing close to its body, as if it was broken. They were all very thin, like they had not eaten in days. The largest creature, the one protecting the others, kept watching Jinwoo with its golden eyes. There was intelligence in those eyes, deep intelligence. This was not just an animal. This was a person, a young person, who could think and feel. Jinwoo slowly put his flashlight on the ground, pointing it away from the creatures so they would not be blinded. He sat down in the hay, making himself smaller and less threatening. "There," he said softly. "I'm not going to hurt you." The creatures did not move. The largest one kept making its low rumbling sound. Jinwoo reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a piece of beef jerky. He always carried some when he was working. Slowly, he tore off a small piece and placed it on the ground between himself and the creatures. The smell of the meat made the smallest creature lift its head, its golden eyes fixed on the food. Jinwoo could hear its stomach making hungry sounds. "Go ahead," Jinwoo whispered. "Take it." The largest creature looked at the food, then at Jinwoo, then back at the food. It was clearly torn between hunger and fear. Finally, it crept forward just enough to grab the piece of meat with its mouth. It ate quickly, never taking its eyes off Jinwoo. Jin-Wu tore off another piece and placed it closer to the creatures. This time the middle one also came forward. Soon all three were eating the jerky, but they still watched Jinwoo carefully. While they ate, Jinwoo got a better look at them. They were clearly related, probably siblings. The largest looked like a female, with more delicate features. The middle one seemed male, with a broader head. The smallest was definitely very young, maybe just a baby. When the jerky was gone, the creatures huddled together again. But they were not as scared as before. The largest one even tilted its head at Jinwoo as if asking a question. "You're lost, aren't you?" Jinwoo said. "And hurt, and hungry." He stood up slowly. The creatures tensed, but they did not try to run. "I'm going to get some supplies," Jinwoo said. "I'll be right back. Don't go anywhere." He picked up his flashlight and went to the storage room at the front of the stable. He had medical supplies for his animals and some emergency food. Also had old blankets that he used when sleeping in the stable during calving season. When he returned, the creatures were still there. The baby was lying down, clearly exhausted. The other two were still alert, watching Jinwoo's every move. Jinwoo spread the blankets in the corner, making a soft bed. Then he opened his first aid kit and took out some antiseptic and bandages. "I need to look at your wounds," he said to the largest creature. "I promise I won't hurt you." The creature seemed to understand. It came forward slowly, still watching Jinwoo. When he reached out to touch its injured wing, it flinched but did not pull away. Jinwoo worked carefully, cleaning cuts and wrapping the worst wounds. The creature's skin was warm, and their scales felt smooth like polished stone. The injured wing was not broken, just badly bruised. As he worked, Jinwoo found himself talking to them. He told them about his ranch, about his animals, about the storm. He did not know if they understood his words, but they seemed to understand. His tone when he finished treating their wounds, Jinwoo gave them water from his canteen and more food from his emergency supplies. They ate everything he gave them, clearly starving. Finally, all three creatures curled up together on the blankets. The baby fell asleep immediately. The other two kept watch for a while, but eventually they also closed their golden eyes. Jinwoo sat in the hay, watching over them. Outside, the storm was beginning to calm. The thunder was moving away, and the rain was lighter. He knew he should report this to the planetary authorities. Strange aliens appearing on frontier worlds could be dangerous. But looking at these three, young creatures hurt and scared and alone, Jinwoo could not bring himself to call for help. They were children. Lost children who needed protection, not investigation. Jin-Woo made a decision that would change his life forever. He would keep them safe, at least until they were healthy and could take care of themselves. He would find out where they came from and help them get home. He did not know that their home was gone forever. He did not know that keeping them safe would make him a target for the most dangerous hunters in the galaxy. All he knew was that three young creatures needed his help. And Jinwoo Park had never been able to turn away from someone in need. The storm passed. The morning would bring new challenges. But for now, in the quiet stable, a human cowboy watched over three alien children, and they were safe. 3 months had passed since Jinwoo found the three alien creatures in his stable. What started as a simple act of kindness had become something much bigger. The creatures had grown fast, much faster than Jinwoo expected. The largest one, who, Jinwoo, now called Hannah, was already the size of a small horse. Her scales had grown brighter, showing beautiful patterns of blue and silver. Her wings were strong now, and she could fly short distances around the ranch. The middle one, Dongmin, was almost as big as his sister. His scales were darker, more green and black, and his build was stronger. He preferred to stay on the ground and help Jinwoo with the heavy work around the ranch. The smallest one, Soyoung, was still growing, but remained the baby of the group. Her scales sparkled like jewels in the sunlight, and she loved to play. She followed Jinwoo everywhere, making happy chirping sounds. Jin-Woo had learned that these were not just smart animals. They were people with minds as sharp as any human. They understood everything he said, even if they could not speak his language yet. Well, Hannah was starting to learn. Jinwoo, Hannah said one morning, her voice rough but clear. Food time. Jinwoo almost dropped his coffee cup. It was the first time she had spoken human words. He had been teaching her simple phrases, but hearing her actually use them made his heart race with excitement. Yes, Hannah, he said with a big smile. Food time. The three creatures had become part of his daily routine. They helped him with the ranch work in ways he never imagined. Hannah could fly over the cattle herds and spot problems from the air. Dongmin could lift heavy fence posts with ease. So-young was the best at finding lost calves, using her sharp nose to track them, but keeping them secret was getting harder. Kyung-ho. Lee, who owned the ranch next to Jinwoo's, had been asking questions. Kyung-ho was a good neighbor and a friend, but he was also very curious about the strange things happening around Jinwoo's property. I saw something flying over your land yesterday, Kunio said one afternoon. Had come by to borrow some tools. It was too big to be a bird. It was too fast to be one of those cargo drones. Jinwoo tried to stay calm. Maybe it was just a weather balloon. The government sends them up sometimes to check the storms. Kyung-ho did not look convinced. Jinwoo, we have been neighbors for 3 years. I know when you are not telling me the truth. What is going on over there? Before Jinwoo could answer, they heard a loud crash from behind the barn. Both men ran to see what happened. They found Dongmin standing next to a large water tank that had been moved 20 feet from Jinwoo, its original spot. The tank was full of water and weighed over 1,000 pounds. It should have been impossible for one person to move it. Dong-min saw the two humans and quickly hid behind the barn. But it was too late. Kyung-ho had seen him. What in the world? Was that Kyung-ho whispered? Jinwoo's mind raced. He had to think fast. It's a new type of robot, for farm work. Still has some bugs to work out. Kyung-ho stared at the spot where Dongmin had disappeared. That did not look like any robot I have ever seen. It looked alive. That night, Jinwoo sat with the three creatures in the stable. He had to tell them the truth about their situation. People are starting to notice you, he said. We need to be more careful. Hannah tilted her head. Careful why? Jinwoo had been dreading this conversation. Because you are different. And sometimes people are afraid of things that are different. We not hurt people, Dongmin said. His English was getting better too, though not as good as Hannah's. I know you would never hurt anyone, Jinwoo said, but other people do not know that. They might try to take you away from me. So-young made a sad sound and pressed closer to Jinwoo. He scratched behind her head scales, which always made her happy. We stay with Jinwoo, Hannah said firmly. Jinwoo family. Those words made Jinwoo's chest feel tight with emotion. Family, yes, that was what they had become. Not just alien creatures he was helping, but his family. The next morning brought new problems. Jinwoo was fixing a fence when he saw dust clouds on the horizon. 3 vehicles were coming toward his ranch, moving fast. He called for Hannah, who was flying nearby. She landed next to him quickly. Jinwoo said, Take Dongmin and So-young and hide in the cave behind the north pasture. Do not come out until I call for you. Hannah looked toward the approaching vehicles. Her golden eyes were sharp with intelligence. Danger? Maybe just hide, please. Nodded and flew away quickly. Jinwoo watched her gather her siblings and lead them to the cave they had found weeks ago. It was well hidden and deep enough to keep them safe. The vehicles stopped in front of Jinwoo's house. 3 men got out, wearing expensive clothes that looked out of place on a frontier planet. They had the cold eyes of people who did dangerous work for money. The leader was a tall man with pale skin and silver hair. He walked up to Jinwoo with a fake smile. Good morning. I'm Commander Vex. We are looking for some lost animals. Very valuable animals? Have you seen anything unusual in this area? Jinwoo kept his face blank. What kind of animals? Large reptiles, possibly flying? It would be young, maybe traveling in a group of 3. I have not seen anything like that, Jinwoo said. This is cattle country. We do not get many exotic animals out here. Commander Vex's smile got colder. Are you sure? We have tracking equipment that suggests they've passed through this area recently. Jinwoo's heart pounded, but he kept his voice steady. I am sure. If I had seen flying reptiles, I would remember it. One of the other men whispered something to Commander Vex. The commander nodded and looked back at Jinwoo. We will be staying in the area for a few days. If you see anything unusual, please contact us immediately. He handed Jinwoo a small device. This will reach us anywhere on the planet. After they left, Jinwoo waited an hour before calling the creatures back. When they emerged from the cave, all three looked worried. Bad men? So-young asked. Yes, Jinwoo said. Very bad men. They are looking for you. Anna's eyes flashed with anger. They hurt our family before. They kill our parents. Jinwoo felt sick. They killed your parents? They hunt us? Dongmin said. We escape. We find Jinwoo. They take creatures like us, Hannah explained. Sell us to bad people. Make us do fighting for entertainment. Jinwoo understood now. These were not just lost children. They were refugees running from hunters who had destroyed their family. They will not take you, Jinwoo said firmly. I promise. Jinwoo cannot stop them, Hannah said sadly. They have many weapons, many men. Maybe not, Jinwoo said. I can try. That night, Jinwoo could not sleep. He walked around his ranch, checking every shadow and sound. The creatures were hiding in the cave again, but he knew Commander Vex and his men were still looking. He had to make a choice. He could try to help the creatures escape to another planet, but that would take time and money he did not have. Or he could try to fight. But 3 men with advanced weapons against 1 rancher were not good odds. But there was a third option. He could contact the authorities and hope they would help. The problem was that he did not know if the authorities were honest or if they worked with the hunters. As he walked past the stable, Jinwoo made his decision. These creatures had become his family. Family protected each other no matter what. The cost. He would not let Commander Vex take them. Even if it meant risking everything he had built on New Texas. The next morning would bring new challenges. But tonight, Jinwoo Park stood guard over his adopted family, and they were safe. For now, 2 days after Commander Vex's visit, Jinwoo knew they had found the creatures. He woke up to the sound of machines humming near his property. Through his bedroom window, he could see lights scanning the hills around his ranch. Jinwoo dressed quickly and grabbed his old military rifle from the closet. He had hoped never to use it again, but some situations called for being prepared. He checked that it was loaded and tucked extra ammunition into his belt. The creatures were still hiding in the cave. But Jinwoo worried that the hunters' machines would find them soon. He had to act fast. He ran to the cave and called softly. Hannah, Dongmin, So-young, come out. We need to talk. The 3 creatures emerged from the darkness. They had grown even more in the past few days. Hannah was now as tall as Jinwoo's shoulder, and her wings had become powerful enough to carry her long distances. The hunters are close, Jinwoo said. Their machines are looking for you. Hannah's golden eyes were sad but determined. We know. We hear them in the night. We need to get you away from here, Jinwoo said. Maybe to another planet where you can be safe. No, Dongmin said firmly. We not run anymore. We tired of running. If you stay, they'll catch you, Jinwoo said, and they will hurt you. They hurt us anyway, So-young said. Her voice was small but brave. They hurt us everywhere we go. Jinwoo looked at the 3 young creatures who had become his family. They were right. Running would only delay the problem. Someday, somewhere, the hunters would catch them. Then we fight, Jinwoo said. Hannah shook her head. Jinwoo, get hurt. We not want that. I am not going to let them take you without a fight, Jinwoo said. You are my family now. Before any of them could say more, they heard vehicles approaching. Lots of vehicles. The hunters were coming. Get back to the cave, Jinwoo said. Stay hidden until I call for you. No, Hannah said. We stay with Jinwoo. Jinwoo wanted to argue, but there was no time. 6 large trucks were coming down the road toward his ranch. Each truck was full of armed men wearing black uniforms. Jinwoo walked to the front of his house and stood in the yard. He held his rifle ready, but not pointing at anyone. The creatures stayed behind him, visible now, but not threatening. Commander Vex got out of the first truck. He was not smiling anymore. His pale face was cold and angry. "Lead to me," he said to Jinwoo. "You are harboring dangerous alien creatures on your property." "They are not dangerous," Jinwoo said. "They are children." "They are valuable specimens," Commander Vex said. "And you are breaking galactic law by hiding them." How more men got out of the trucks? Jinwoo counted at least 20 hunters, all carrying advanced weapons. His old rifle suddenly felt very small in his hands. "What galactic law?" Jinwoo asked. Commander Vex pulled out a device that projected words and images in the air. "Galactic Safety Code 47 Alpha. Any species capable of natural plasma generation and flight must be registered and controlled. These creatures are classified as dangerous weapons." Jinwoo looked at the projected text. It was full of legal words he did not understand, but the meaning was clear. According to galactic law, creatures like Hana, Dongmin, and Saoyang were considered weapons, not people. "This is wrong," Jinwoo said. "They are intelligent. They have feelings. They are not weapons." "The law is the law," Commander Vex said. "Hand them over now, and we will not charge you with harboring illegal aliens." Jinwoo raised his rifle. No, 20 weapons pointed at Jinwoo. He was outnumbered and outgunned, but he did not move. "You are making a mistake," Commander Vex said. "You're just one human. We are professionals. Stand down." "I'm not moving," Jinwoo said. Hana stepped forward, placing herself between Jinwoo and the hunters. She was now fully grown to her adult size, her wingspan stretching 20 feet across. In the sunlight, her scales shimmered like armor. "You want us?" she said in clear English. "You're not hurt, Jinwoo?" Commander Vex's eyes went wide. "It can talk." "Fascinating. That will make it even more valuable." "We are not it," Dongmin said, moving to stand beside his sister. "We are people." Hwan, though still the smallest, also stepped forward. "We are family." Commander Vex laughed. "Family? You are the last 3 Drakmari in the galaxy. Do you know what that makes you worth, Drakmari?" Jinwoo had never heard that word before. "Their species name," Commander Vex explained. "The Drakmari. Homeworld was destroyed 5 years ago. These 3 are the only survivors. Collectors will pay millions for them." Jinwoo felt sick. "You destroyed their planet." "The Drakmari refused to submit to galactic authority," Commander Vex said. "They thought they were too good to follow the rules, so we made an example of them." "You committed genocide," Jinwoo said. "We enforced the law," Commander Vex corrected. "And now we are collecting the last specimens." Hana's eyes blazed with anger. "You kill our parents. You kill our people. You destroy our home. And now you will work for us," Commander Vex said, "or we will kill your human friend." Jinwoo saw the hunters taking aim at him. He knew he could not win this fight with weapons, but maybe he could win it another way. "Before you do anything," Jinwoo said, "I want to know something. Why are you really here?" Commander Vex looked confused. "To collect valuable specimens." "No," Jinwoo said. "You are here because someone is paying you, someone who wants the Drakmari for a specific purpose." "What does it matter?" Commander Vex asked. "It matters because you are not just hunters," Jinwoo said. "You are slavers, and slavery is illegal under galactic law." Commander Vex's face went red. "We are not slavers. We are collectors. You take intelligent beings against their will and sell them," Jinwoo said. "That is slavery." "The law says they are weapons," Commander Vex argued. "The law is wrong," Jinwoo said, "and you know it." For a moment, nobody moved. The hunters kept their weapons trained on Jinwoo, but some of them looked uncertain. Maybe they had not thought about what they were really doing. Then Commander Vex's expression hardened. "Enough talk. Take them." The hunters started to move forward. Jinwoo prepared to fight, even though he knew it was hopeless. That was when Hana spoke again, but this time in a different language. It was musical and beautiful. Unlike anything Jinwoo had ever heard, Dong-Min and So-Young answered in the same language. They were having a conversation that Jinwoo could not understand, but he could tell it was important. "What are they saying?" Commander Vex demanded. "They are saying goodbye," Jinwoo said, though he was guessing. Hannah turned to Jinwoo. "We sorry, Jinwoo. We bring danger to you. You brought joy to me," Jinwoo said. "You are the best thing that ever happened to me." So-young started to cry. Dongmin put his wing around her protectively. "Enough," Commander Vex said. "Take them now." Hunters moved forward. Jinwoo raised his rifle, knowing it was useless, but unable to just stand and watch. Then something unexpected happened. A new sound filled the air. It was a deep humming, like the sound of a giant machine starting up. Everyone looked around, trying to find the source of the sound. It was coming. From above them, in the distance, Jinwoo could see a shape moving through the clouds. It was too far away to make out details, but it was big and getting bigger. "What is that?" one of the hunters asked. Commander Vex pulled out a scanner and pointed it at the sky. His face went white. "It's a galactic patrol ship." "How?" another hunter asked. "We are in the middle of nowhere," Jinwoo smiled. 3 days ago, he had sent a message to the Galactic Patrol, reporting the hunters' presence on New Texas. He had not expected them to respond. But apparently someone had been listening. "You called them?" Commander Vex said to Jinwoo. "You betrayed us. I reported a crime," Jinwoo said. "Your crime." The ship was getting closer. It was huge, bigger than Jinwoo's entire ranch, and it was moving fast. "We need to leave," one of the hunters said. "Now." "No," Commander Vex said. "We are not leaving without the specimens." "Sir, that is a military vessel," the hunter said. "We cannot fight the Galactic Patrol. We have legal authority," Commander Vex said. "They cannot stop us." But Jinwoo could see doubt in the eyes of the other hunters. They were not sure there. Commander was right. The ship was close enough now that Jinwoo could see its markings. It was definitely a Galactic Patrol vessel, and it was coming down to land. "Last chance," Commander Vex said to Jinwoo. "Give us the creatures, or we will take them by force." Jinwoo looked at Hannah Dongmin and So-young. They were scared, but they were also ready to fight. "No," Jinwoo said. "My family stays with me." The patrol ship landed with a thunderous roar, kicking up clouds of dust. Its doors opened and armed patrol officers began pouring out. The real fight was about to begin. The Galactic Patrol ship landed with a loud crash that shook the ground under everyone's feet. Dust flew everywhere, making it hard to see. Jinwoo kept his rifle ready and stayed close to the 3 Drukmari. Captain Yinseo Kim stepped out of the patrol ship first. She was a tall woman wearing the blue uniform of the Galactic Patrol. Behind her came 20 patrol officers, all carrying weapons much more advanced than what the hunters had. "What is happening here?" Captain Kim called out in a strong voice. Commander Vex stepped forward, trying to look official. "Captain, we are conducting legal business under Galactic Safety Code 47 Alpha. This human is harboring dangerous alien weapons." Captain Kim looked at Jinwoo, then at the 3 Drukmari standing behind him. Her eyes showed surprise when she saw how young they were. "These are children," she said. "They are specimens," Commander Vex said. "Dangerous specimens that must be contained. Received a report about illegal hunting operations in this sector," Captain Kim said. "Are you the hunters mentioned in that report?" "We are licensed collectors," Commander Vex said quickly. "We have all the proper permits." Captain Kim held out her hand. "Show me these permits," while Commander Vex searched through his pockets. Jinwoo noticed that some of the hunters were moving to surround the patrol officers. They were trying to get into better fighting positions. Captain Jinwoo called out, "Be careful. They are moving to attack you." Captain Kim's officers immediately raised their weapons. The hunters stopped moving, but the tension in the air grew thicker. "Stand down," Captain Kim ordered the hunters, "and nobody moves until I see these permits." Commander Vex finally found his documents and handed them to Captain Kim. She read them carefully, her face getting more serious with each line. "These permits are for specimen collection," she said. "But they do not mention the Drukmari species specifically." "The permits cover all dangerous species," Commander Vex said. "The Drukmari are not listed as dangerous," Captain Kim said. "In fact, according to my records, they were a peaceful species that refused to join the Galactic Military Alliance, which made them dangerous," Commander Vex said. "Any species that refuses to follow galactic law is a threat." Captain Kim's eyes went cold. So you destroyed their planet. We enforce the law, Commander Vex repeated. Jinwoo could see that Captain Kim was getting angry. But before she could respond, something unexpected happened. Hannah stepped forward, away from Jinwoo, and toward the hunters. Her golden eyes were sad but determined. Wait, she said in perfect galactic standard language. Please do not fight. Everyone stared at her in shock. Jinwoo had no idea she could speak the galactic language so well. Hannah continued walking toward Commander Vex. With each step, she looked smaller and more vulnerable despite her large size. We will come with you, she said. We will be your specimens. We'll do whatever you want. Hannah, no, Jinwoo shouted. But Hannah did not stop. She reached Commander Vex and then did something that broke Jinwoo's heart. She knelt down in front of the hunter, lowering her proud head to the ground. Please, she said, we will serve you. We will be in your cages. We will fight for your entertainment. But do not hurt Jinwoo. He showed us kindness when no one else would. He gave us food when we were hungry, gave us shelter when we were cold. He became our family when we had no one. Dongmin and Sayoung looked at each other, then followed their sister. They also knelt before Commander Vex, their heads touching the ground. We beg you, Dongmin said in broken galactic standard. Take us. Leave Jinwoo alone. We will be good specimens, Sayoung added, her young voice shaking with fear. We will not cause trouble. Jinwoo felt like someone had punched him in the stomach. These brave, intelligent creatures were willing to sacrifice their freedom to protect him. He said, running toward them. You are not specimens. You are people. You do not kneel to anyone. Commander Vex smiled cruelly. How touching. The specimens care about their human pet. They are not specimens, Captain Kim said firmly, and he is not their pet. What I see here is a family trying to protect each other. The law says they are dangerous weapons, Commander Vex argued. The law is wrong, Captain Kim said. Any law that treats intelligent beings as objects is wrong. Commander Vex's smile disappeared. You cannot change galactic law, Captain. You must follow orders just like everyone else. My orders are to investigate illegal activities, Captain Kim said. And what I see here looks very illegal. Hannah lifted her head from the ground. Captain, we do not want to cause more fighting. You will go with the hunters if it means peace. You will not go anywhere, Jinwoo said. He knelt down next to Hannah and put his hand on her neck. You are my family. Family does not abandon each other. Jinwoo could die, Hannah said. We cannot let that happen. I would rather die fighting for my family than live knowing I let them be enslaved, Jinwoo said. Captain Kim watched this exchange with growing amazement. In 20 years of patrol duty, I have never seen such loyalty between different species. Commander Vex was getting impatient. Enough talk. We have legal authority to take these creatures. Stand aside, Captain, or face charges for interfering. With lawful business? I do not think your business is lawful, Captain Kim said. In fact, I think you are slavers. We are not slavers, Commander Vex said angrily. We are collectors. You take intelligent beings against their will and sell them, Captain Kim said. That is the definition of slavery. Jinwoo stood up, still keeping his hand on Hannah's neck. Captain, there is something else you should know. These hunters destroyed the Drakmari homeworld. They committed genocide. Captain Kim's face went white. Is this true? We enforce galactic law, Commander Vex said. The Drakmari refused to submit to authority. You killed an entire species because they would not join your military alliance, Captain Kim said. That is genocide, not law enforcement. It was legal, Commander Vex insisted. Oh, said a new voice. It was not. Everyone turned to see another person stepping out of the patrol ship. This was an older man wearing the uniform of a galactic judge. His presence changed everything. Judge Hansel Park, he introduced himself. I have been monitoring this situation from the ship. Commander Vex looked nervous for the first time. Your Honor, we were just following orders. Orders to commit genocide are illegal, Judge Park said, no matter who gives them. But the safety codes, Commander Vex started to say. The safety codes were written by the same people who ordered the destruction of the Drakmari homeworld, Judge Park said. They are not real laws. They are excuses for murder. Jinwoo felt hope growing in his chest. So the Drakmari are not dangerous weapons? The Drakmari are people, Judge Park said. They have the same rights as any intelligent species in the galaxy. Commander Vex's hand moved toward his weapon. This is not over. Yes, it is, Captain Kim said. Her officers surrounded the hunters, weapons ready, but Commander Vex was not giving up. We have 20 men. You have 20, even odds. Actually, Judge Park said with a smile, you are outnumbered. He pressed a button on his communicator. Suddenly, the sky filled with more patrol ships. 10, 20, 50 ships appeared from behind the clouds. I called for backup before we landed, Judge Park explained. We have been tracking your operation for months, Commander Vex. This was just the trap we needed to catch you. Commander Vex looked around at the ships surrounding his position. His hunters were putting down their weapons and raising their hands. You cannot prove anything, he said desperately. We can prove everything, Judge Park said, including the location of your slave markets and the names of your buyers. Commander Vex's face went pale. He knew he was caught. Hannah, Dongmin, and So-young stood up from their kneeling positions. They looked confused and hopeful at the same time. We are free? Hina asked. You are free, Judge Park said. And under the protection of the Galactic Patrol, Jinwoo hugged all 3 Drakmari, feeling tears of relief running down his face. His family was safe, but this was just the beginning of their story. The galaxy was about to change in ways none of them could imagine. The arrest of Commander Vex and his hunters was just the beginning. Within hours of Judge Park's arrival, news of the events on New Texas spread across the galaxy faster than anyone expected. Jinwoo did not understand how important the moment was until Captain Kim showed him the galactic news feeds on her ship's communication system. Look at this, she said, pointing to the screen. Your story is on every news channel in the galaxy. Jinwoo watched in amazement as reporters from dozens of planets talked about the human rancher who had protected the last 3 Drakmari. Footage showed him standing with his rifle, facing down 20 hunters to protect his adopted family. I was just doing what anyone would do, Jinwoo said. No, Judge Park said, joining them in the communication room. Most people would have been too afraid. Most people would have turned them over to the authorities. You risked everything for 3 aliens you barely knew. They were not aliens to me, Jinwoo said. They were my family. On the screen, they watched as protesters gathered on dozens of worlds, demanding answers about the Drakmari genocide. People were angry about the fake laws that had allowed the destruction of an entire species. The Galaxy Council is calling an emergency session, Captain Kim said. They want to hear testimony about what happened here. Testimony from who? Jinwoo asked. From you, Judge Park said, and from Hannah, Dongmin, and So-young. Jinwoo felt nervous. I do not know anything about politics or galactic law. You know about right and wrong, Judge Park said. Sometimes that is more important than law. Outside the ship, the 3 Drakmari were playing with some of the patrol officers. So-young was showing them how she could change the color of her scales. While Dongmin was demonstrating his strength by lifting a small patrol vehicle, Hannah was different. She sat quietly, watching the ships in the sky and listening to the news. Reports Jinwoo could tell she was thinking about something important. What is wrong? Jinwoo asked her. We are the last, Hannah said sadly. It's the last Drakmari in the whole galaxy. When we die, our people will be gone forever. Jinwoo sat down next to her. Maybe not forever. Maybe someday there will be more Drakmari. How? Hannah asked. We are only 3, and we are all from the same family. We cannot have children together. Jinwoo had not thought about this problem. He did not know much about Drakmari biology, but Hannah was right. 3 siblings could not rebuild their entire species. Maybe the scientists can help, Jinwoo said. Maybe they can find a way, maybe Hannah said. But she did not sound hopeful. Judge Park called them back into the ship. We need to leave for the Galaxy Council headquarters. The emergency session starts tomorrow. All of us, Jinwoo asked. All of you, Judge Park confirmed. The council wants to hear from everyone involved. The trip to the Galaxy Council headquarters took 2 days through hyperspace. Jinwoo had never left New Texas before. He was amazed by the size and beauty of the galactic capital. The Galaxy Council building was enormous, bigger than any city Jinwoo had ever seen. It floated in space above a blue and green planet, connected to the surface by massive elevators. This is where the laws for the entire galaxy are made, Captain Kim explained as their ship docked. Inside the building, Jinwoo felt very small. The hallways were so big that ships could fly through them. Beings from hundreds of different worlds walked past, talking in languages Jinwoo had never heard. Hannah, Dongmin, and So-young stayed close to Jinwoo. They were nervous too, but they tried to be brave. "Remember," Judge Park said as they walked toward the council chamber, "just tell the truth about what happened. Do not worry about anything else." The council chamber was the biggest room Jinwoo had ever seen. Thousands of representatives from across the galaxy sat in curved rows that went up so high. Jinwoo could barely see the top. At the center of the room was a small platform where witnesses gave their testimony. That was where Jinwoo would have to stand and tell his story to the entire galaxy. "Citizens of the galaxy," the council speaker announced, "we are here to investigate the destruction of the Drakmari homeworld and the treatment of the survivors." The first witnesses were scientists who explained what had really happened 5 years ago. The Drakmari had been a peaceful people who loved art and music. They had refused to join the Galactic Military Alliance because they believed in non-violence. Response to their refusal was completely out of proportion to any threat they posed, one scientist testified. The Drakmari had no weapons of mass destruction. They had no plans to attack anyone. They simply wanted to be left alone. Next came military officers who had been involved in the attack on the Drakmari homeworld. Some of them looked ashamed. As they described the orders they had received, "We were told the Drakmari were building secret weapons," one officer said. "We were told they were planning to attack civilian targets." None of it was true. Then it was Jinwoo's turn. He walked to the platform on shaking legs. Looking up at thousands of alien faces staring down at him made him feel dizzy. "Tell us what happened," the council speaker said gently. Jinwoo took a deep breath and began his story. He told them about finding 3 wounded creatures in his stable during a storm. He told them about learning to communicate with them and discovering their intelligence. "They were not weapons," Jinwoo said. "They were children. Scared, hurt children who had lost everything." He described how the creatures had helped him with his ranch work, how they had become part of his daily life, how they had become his family. "When the hunters came, they offered to sacrifice themselves to save me," Jinwoo said. "What kind of weapons do that? What kind of monsters beg for the life of someone else?" When Jinwoo finished his testimony, the chamber was completely silent. Then slowly, applause began. It started with just a few beings clapping, then spread throughout the chamber until thousands of representatives were standing and cheering next. Hannah walked to the platform. She was nervous, but she spoke clearly in perfect galactic standard. "My people are gone," she said simply. "My parents are dead. My world is destroyed. But I am not angry. I am sad, but I am not angry." "Why not?" the council speaker asked. "Because anger will not bring back my people," Hannah said. "But maybe our story can prevent this from happening to others." She talked about the Drakmari culture, their love of beauty and harmony, their belief that all life was sacred. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," she said. "We just wanted to live in peace." Dongmin and So-young also gave testimony, though they were more nervous than their sister. They described their escape from the destruction of their world and their desperate flight across space. "We thought we would die alone," Dongmin said. "But Jinwoo showed us that not all humans are bad. He showed us that kindness still exists in the galaxy." When all the testimony was finished, the council speaker called for a vote on new galactic laws. "First," she announced, "we vote to officially declare the destruction of the Drakmari homeworld an act of genocide and a crime against all intelligent life." The vote was unanimous. "Second, we vote to establish new protections for refugee species and individuals who help them." Again, unanimous. "Third, we vote to create the Jinwoo Doctrine. Any being who shows genuine compassion and protection to refugees of any species shall be granted full diplomatic immunity and protection under galactic law. The applause was so loud that Jinwoo could feel it in his chest, but the most important vote came last. Finally, the council speaker said, "We vote to grant the surviving Drakmarie full citizenship in the Galactic Council and all the rights and protections that come with it." As the cheers echoed through the chamber, Jinwoo looked at Hannah, Dongmin, and Sa-young. Were no longer refugees or specimens or weapons. They were citizens of the galaxy, with all the rights that brought. But more importantly, they were still his family. Nothing would ever change that. 1 year after the Galaxy Council session, Jinwoo stood on the porch of his ranch house watching the sunset. But his ranch looked very different now. Where once he had only cattle and horses, now there were buildings from a dozen different worlds. Refugee families from across the galaxy had come to New Texas. Following the story of the human who had protected the last Drakmarie, the Jinwoo Doctrine had changed everything. Planets that had once turned away refugees now welcomed them with open arms. People who had been afraid to help aliens now knew they would be protected by galactic law if they showed kindness. "Jinwoo," Hannah called from the sky above. She landed gracefully next to the porch, her adult wings now spanning 30 feet. "The new families have arrived." Jinwoo looked toward the landing pad that had been built near his old stable. A transport ship was setting down, carrying another group of refugees who had heard about the sanctuary on New Texas. "How many this time?" Jinwoo asked. 12 families, Hannah said, from 4 different worlds. "Captain Kim says more are coming next week." Jinwoo smiled. Captain Kim had become the head of the new Refugee Protection Service, a galactic organization. Created after the Drakmarie case, she visited New Texas often, bringing new families who needed safe places to live. Dong-Min came running from the new workshops, where refugee engineers were building homes and tools for their communities. He was now as large as his sister, with dark green scales that shimmered like metal. "The Zephyrian family finished their house," he reported happily. "And the Kelthran children want to learn how to ride horses. Tell them I will teach them tomorrow." Jinwoo said. So Young appeared from the direction of the old cave where Jinwoo had first hidden the Drakmarie. She had grown into a beautiful young adult, her scales now shifting colors like a rainbow depending on her mood. "The memorial garden is ready," she announced. "We can have the ceremony tomorrow." The memorial garden was Sa-young's special project. She had created a beautiful space where refugees could remember the worlds and families they had lost. Each refugee family planted something from their home world, creating a garden of memories from across the galaxy. "Judge Park will be here for the ceremony," Jinwoo said. "He is bringing representatives from the Galaxy Council." "Good," Hannah said. "Our people should be remembered by more than just us." The ceremony was important to all 3 Drakmarie, even though they had built new lives on New Texas. They never forgot that they were the last of their kind. The memorial garden helped them honor their lost people, while also celebrating the new community they had helped create. As the sun set, other refugees came to join them on the porch. There was Minjin, a young engineer from the destroyed world of Altair 7. His people looked almost human, except for their silver skin and large eyes. There was Jae-hyun, an artist from the Crystal Mountains of Zarian, whose people were tall and thin, with skin that sparkled like diamonds. There was also Kyunsu, a leader of a nomadic people whose ships had been destroyed by pirates. His people were small and furry, with big ears and kind faces. They had become excellent farmers, helping to grow food for the entire community.
Binjun
said, "We received a message from the Galaxy Council today. They want to establish more sanctuaries like ours on other worlds. But that is good news," Jinwoo said. "More safe places mean more people can be helped. They want you to help choose the locations and train the new sanctuary keepers," Jae-hyun added. Jin-Woo thought about this. He had never wanted to be famous or important. He had just wanted to help 3 scared children. But somehow, that simple act had started something much bigger. "What do you think?" he asked the 3 Drakmarie. "You think you should do it," Hannah said. "You taught us that kindness can change the galaxy. Maybe you can teach others the same lesson." "But we all go together," Dongmin added. "We are still family, always family," Sa-young agreed. That night, Jinwoo could not sleep. Walked around the ranch looking at all the changes that had happened in just 1 year. The old stable where he had first found the Drakmari was now a museum where children from across the galaxy came to learn about the importance of helping others. The fields where he had once raised cattle were now home to farms that grew food from dozens of different worlds. The workshops where refugees built homes and tools hummed with activity, day and night. But the most amazing change was not in the buildings or the fields. It was in the people. Humans and aliens worked together, learned from each other, and became friends. Children who had never seen other species before now played together as if differences in appearance meant nothing. Jinwoo found Hannah sitting by the memorial garden, looking at the stars. "Cannot sleep either," he asked. "I was thinking about our parents," Hannah said, "and about our world. I wish they could see what we have built here." "Maybe they can," Jinwoo said. "Maybe they know that their children are safe and happy." "Do you really think so?" Hannah asked. "I think love does not die when people die," Jinwoo said. "I think the love your parents had for you is still here, in everything you do to help others." Hannah smiled, her scales glowing softly in the starlight. "You always know the right thing to say." "I learned it from you," Jinwoo said. "You and your brother and sister taught me that family is not about being the same species. Family is about choosing to love and protect each other." The next morning brought the memorial ceremony. Judge Park arrived with a delegation from the Galaxy Council, including representatives from 50 different worlds. But the most important guests were the refugee families who now called New Texas home. So Young had created a beautiful space, filled with plants and trees from dozens of worlds. At the center was a crystal monument that bore the names of all the species that had been lost to war, persecution, or genocide. "We gather here to remember those who are gone," Judge Park said to the assembled crowd, "but we also gather to celebrate those who survived and those who chose to help them survive." One by one, representatives from each refugee family placed a flower or stone or other memorial item at the base of the crystal monument. When it was the Drakmari's turn, Hannah, Dongmin, and Soyoung each placed a scale from their bodies at the monument. "For our parents," Hannah said, "and for our people, you are not forgotten." Then Jinwoo stepped forward. He placed a simple wildflower from his original ranch at the monument. "For all the families we have not been able to save," he said, "and for all the families we will save in the future." After the ceremony, Judge Park made an announcement that surprised everyone. "The Galaxy Council has voted to make New Texas the official center for refugee protection in this sector of space," he said. Jinwoo Park has been appointed as the first galactic coordinator for refugee affairs. Jinwoo stared at Judge Park in shock. "I do not know anything about galactic politics." "You know about compassion," Judge Park said. "You know about standing up for what is right, even when it is dangerous. Those are the most important qualifications for this job." "But I am just a rancher," Jinwoo protested. "We're the human who faced down 20 armed hunters to protect 3 alien children," Judge Park said. "You are the man who started a galactic movement just by doing the right thing. You are exactly who we need for this job." Hannah stepped forward. "We will help," she said. "The 3 of us will work with Jinwoo to make sure no refugee family ever faces what we faced alone." "Together," Dongmin agreed. "Always together," Soyoung added, as the sun set on that special day. Jinwoo looked around at the community that had grown from his simple act of kindness. Hundreds of beings from dozens of worlds lived and worked together in peace. Children played in languages from across the galaxy. Adults shared knowledge and skills that made everyone's life better. But the most important thing was the knowledge that this was just the beginning. Other sanctuaries were being built on other worlds. The Jinwoo doctrine was spreading, encouraging people everywhere to help those in need. And at the center of it all was a simple rule that had become galactic law. You don't hurt humans. No one survives breaking the galactic rule, but more importantly, anyone who hurt those under human protection would face the combined might of the entire galaxy. Jinwoo Park, the rancher from New Texas, had accidentally become one of the most important people in the galaxy. But to him, the most important thing was still sitting on his porch in the evening with his adopted family. watching the stars and knowing that somewhere out there, their families were finding safety because someone had chosen to be kind. The galaxy was a better place because one human had decided that 3 scared alien children deserved protection. And that was a legacy worth building a life around. The story of the human cowboy and the orphaned alien dragon family had become legend. But the real story was still being written every day, in every act of kindness, in every choice to help instead of harm, in every decision to see others as family instead of strangers. And in that ongoing story, everyone could be a hero.